Hello again, my friends, and welcome back to Fujit's Blitz with me, Fujit. Hello! Today we're going to be talking about this tank. Why, I hear you ask? Well, because as of the update, which will really hit on April the 19th, that's tomorrow, you have got the chance to get yourself a free order, which means you can get this little T26E3 Eagle 7 into your garage almost for gratis. I don't know how it's going to come. All I know is that there's going to be a free order. It's a tier 7 medium. Yeah, I know it sits in tier 7, the realm of the Smasher and the Annihilator. But don't let that put you off. Let's have a look at this tank. Let's have a look at what its attributes are, what's so good about it and what's so bad about it, and why you should be chuffed about getting this one into your garage, basically. Okay, so let's not kid ourselves. This isn't exactly the best tank you can get in tier 7, but a couple of things you need to remember. One, it's a premium tank and it's going to be basically gratis. What's not to like about that? Okay, so it has the second worst DPM in the tier and in the class. That's right, the CS52 Liz beats it. That has actually got the worst DPM. Even the FL10 has a better DPM than this tank. Okay, it's pretty slow. Everything else about it is pretty mediocre. It's nothing really to write home about. But it has the best credit coefficient in the tier. Yep, it's got a whopping 155%. That's pretty half decent when you come to think about it. The armor, well, let's not go there. It's a typical American medium. Looking at its armor profile, this is what it looks like. It's pretty weak, but it's got a solid mantle. Now, when I stick that against a Tiger P, you can see what happens. It's not very red, apart from that mantle, which is red. And this is probably the Achilles heel of most American tanks. They've got really good parts of the turret that are really strong, and then they've got parts of the turret that are really weak, and then they've got a really weak lower hull. But this should be telling you something, everybody. It tells you that this tank likes to be lovely and comfy when it's hauled down, especially with its 10 degrees of gun depression, which I forgot to mention until now. It's got a pew-pew gun, mediocre penetration. Oh, and did I mention its mobility is a bit pants, but it does have the super duper speed boost, which does help it along. The thing is about these type of tanks is that you've got to play them carefully. You can't go rushing headlong and hoping for the best. You are going to get bounces if you manage to get that turret into a position where you're just showing that mantle, and you are going to be able to give smashers a hard time. I mean, I gave this smasher a hard time, so they're not invincible, but it's not the easiest tank to play out there in the tier, especially when you have annihilators and smashers. Let's not beat around the bush here. However, did I mention this one is going to be basically gratis? It's a freebie, and with 155% credit coefficient, you can't really go wrong on it. It's an okay tank. It's actually one of the better American mediums in the tier, and like I said, virtually all the American mediums are plagued with this. We've got a really strong mantlet, but pretty dodgy everything else in real terms. You know, that's just the way the American tanks work. Alright, it can be pretty annoying with its lack of mobility, because it is pretty slow. It's a bit sluggish, but it does have that extra super duper speedy booster, which does allow you to get round corners pretty quickly. Okay, and the gun can be a bit temperamental, especially with that aim time, with that big boom. But it's not a bad tank. Just don't front line it. You need to find a place that it's going to be comfy, as I said, behind a big dip where it's just poking that gun over. And don't think that going all down you're going to sort of miraculously help your bottom plate. It doesn't work that way, I'm afraid. It really doesn't. Not in this tank, because the bottom plate is still pretty wide open to almost everything. That's just the way it is. But it's a half decent tier 7 medium. Oh, okay, I was bottom tier there, and it's not going to struggle against tier 6s. What's it like against tier 8? Well, it does have a tendency to struggle a little bit, not gonna lie. But that's not to say the tank is absolutely useless, because it just isn't. This is us on Faust, and we are now bottom tier. We're not top tier anymore, and it's a tier 8 game. and they've got some pretty funky tanks on the opposite side, including a relative of this little Eagle 7 who's going to pop around the corner in a moment. There he is. Hello, relative. How you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. Nice to meet you on the battlefield. But, as I said earlier, this is a tank. Okay, I'm on the front line here, mainly because they're coming round. But it can hold its own if it's in the right place. And that right place is on the little dips. As I said, use the terrain, because you've got to nurture this tank and make sure that only the gun mantlet in the turret is showing. I mean, the gun can be accurate. Hello. Didn't expect that, did you? No, I did not. So this is a tank that really likes to be in these little dips. It has to be in these little dips. And as you can see, there goes the T26E3. Hello, older brother. Goodbye, older brother. Courtesy of your sibling. So it can hold its own in tier 8. It all depends on how you play it. And this is the main thing. This is not a tank that you can rush around the battlefield in. One, the mobility won't let you. But more importantly, it doesn't have the armor to do that. This is more of one of those playstyles whereby you really are in a defensive second line, possibly even a third line, staying behind those heavy tanks, letting the heavies do all the heavy lifting. And when necessary, then you get involved. Now look, we haven't done much in way of damage or anything in this game. In fact, we haven't done much in the way of anything in this game. 858 damage churned out, 225 blocked. We'd taken a kill. But the tank will come into its own eventually. And what we're going to do now, we're just going to pop up using its sluggish mobility to try and get around the back of these tanks. Oh, hello, T34-1. There we go, there's a block. And we can put some more into him. It hasn't got the best DPM, so it doesn't have the best load time. Even though you drop the adrenaline, you are still going to be out reloaded by almost everything apart from the CS Liz. So be mindful of that. That's why I'm saying this is not one of those tanks that you really can put into a frontline position. Sometimes, however, you just get rushed. And in those circumstances, you've just got to try your best. Try and get those blocks. Try and get that turret frontally. And I blocked the ISU there. I'll take out the LTTB. I was hoping the IS-3 would come around a little bit quicker, but he's taking his sweet time about it. Take out the T-34 and get absolutely wrecked by the ISU 152. We do win the game, however, and that's the main thing. So don't write this little beastie off just too soon. Don't thumb your nose at it and say, it's a mediocre tier 7. It may well be, but I tell you what, it's no different to most of the other American mediums out there. And, did I tell you, one, it's going to be probably for nothing, gratis, in your account for freebie, woohoo! And two, it's got a great credit coefficient. So remember, don't frontline on this one. Give it a little bit of DLC, a bit of love and a bit of care. Keep it hull down as much as possible and pick your targets out. And believe me, you will have fun in this thing. Anyway, I've been Fujit. That has been my little take on the T26E3 Eagle 7. Coming to you pretty darn soon. In fact, tomorrow, if you're lucky. Anyway, I've been Fujit, as I said. Get those comments below. Let me know your thoughts on this one, because I'm always intrigued to know what you've all got to think and say about it. Until the next time, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I will say my usual stuff. It's only a game, so stay safe out there. Have fun on the battlefield and happy tanking, because that is what it's all about. Having fun and being happy.